All right, folks, welcome to session 4. Today, I'll teach you how to handle alert pop-ups, iframe, hover over, scroll up and down, how to switch the driver to different window, new window. If we can get to, I'll try to cover the Java idea of set and advanced for loop, keyword actions, if we get time to do that, but from yesterday we did not finish our test case, so we need to finish that test case. We also did not cover XPath axes, didn't show you select class. We touched on assertion and try catch. No worries, we'll be doing assertions almost every week. Every time we automate a test case, we're going to be touching on assertion. Every once in a while, we're going to try to catch the failure and handle it ourselves. We'll do try catch as well. So don't panic if you didn't get this quite well. You will get it over a period of time. Select class, I'll see if I can do that today to finish up that test case. So I did post the notes or the code at the very bottom where you would see class code. How many of you had a chance to actually type this in and check to see if it works?
I did in the class yesterday, so it was working fine.
Okay. It's very important that on a daily stuff.
Can you share your screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see now? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, just wanted to brush up what I went over. Was today we're going to cover iframe, alert pop-up, hover over, scroll up and down, new window, set an advanced for loop, keyword actions if we can get a chance to do that. And just wanted to go over what we started off with yesterday and possibly cover XPath axes in doing so, and finish up the test case before we get to our session 4 materials. Session 4 shouldn't take that long. So here we go. This is from yesterday, and just quick brush up before I add anything extra to it. Y'all okay with setting up Chrome driver properties, instantiating the Chrome driver, browser just open, we maximize the screen, really not needed. Okay, so it takes up a little more time. That's fine, we'll leave it. Yeah, I don't like it. For demo purposes, I would like it to be a little bit smaller screen so I can see the back side as well. So I'm going to leave it out. You can always comment things out as you need to. Delete all cookies. I am not going to worry about it, but if you want to, you can. Implicit wait, let's put 5 seconds for good measure. Hopefully that's going to save us from some failures due to wait. You don't need to put too much. This website doesn't wait too much. This is going to get us to the website. This is where we are typing in the username, typing in the password, and clicking on the sign in button. This is where we saved the dashboard XPath into something called a bilocator. And also, you have learned that there's another way to save it, which was web element. Very important. You're going to be messing around with these two things going forward. And web element, the naming convention for by and web element is a bit different. I know I'm bringing in this convention. Y'all just went in and said string and gave it whatever name you wanted. not a good practice. Anytime you have a variable, it needs to be in this format. That way, if you ever see anything all capitalized with underscores, you know what that is. It's some sort of container storing something. And it should say what it's storing for readability of whoever is going to be reading your code and trying to implement. Or reusability, because that same element can be used by another software engineer from another class for another page. Right? So if you build something with that in mind, then you don't have to double work on that thing. And everybody can kind of kick off on each other. Okay? So that's why rules are so important. Now, the naming convention for web element, you end with an element. And what is that element? It is a page title. Okay? Page title, you just call it element. Okay? So whoever reads this last part, locator, he's going to know that it doesn't have the driver part to it. It starts with the by. Whoever reads this element ending will know, oh, that actually has everything. It has the driver, dot find element, dot by, dot whatever that is. All of that is encapsulated inside this variable. Understand? Simple. Driver. So same thing. If I wanted to bring it here, driver dot find. Come on, think. Okay. And I can take all of this, put it in here. I could even make it more complicated and take this, put it in here. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be the same thing? Remember, when there is an equal sign, that means the left side is the same as the right side. So either I use the right side or the left side, doesn't really matter. It's my choice. Whichever looks nicer is what I'm going to use. So I can just use this. Why not? It looks cleaner, does the same thing. That's what you want to go after when you're coding. Okay? All right, so these are two locators. I use it or not, I'm just going to leave it up here. Honestly, have you thought about that? I could have even stored all of these guys. I could have stored this email address and call it web element username username field element, username input field element. I could have stored this whole thing. And later on I could have just said username input field element dot send keys and then function. That's coming. That's how it's going to be later on when I introduce you to a framework. It's all going to be under these two umbrellas. Okay? There will be a page full of nothing but it starts with all of these things. It's going to be a page full of those elements. Somebody's going to find, or you're going to first go into the page and locate all those elements and put it in different names. Give them all your names. Why? That way, you never have to do it again. And those elements, if any other test cases need, they will just call it instead of going in, digging into inspect tool and look at the HTML. All of that extra work will be saved in the long run. Understand? So now this page is a mess. This is linear programming, linear scripting, and it is a mess. Agree? It's gonna get cleaned up when I take you to a framework. But it's good for beginners. If I take you to the framework now, it might be too much for you to handle. So just look at this. We'll clean things up later.
Question.
Yes.
When we store the
the email and password in the same element by using comma or not?
Can you ask me again?
Can we using the driver element to store the email input for the element? Then
Yeah.
can we do both in the same in one element?
She's asking, can we store the email
The
and
password
the
and
password
email on the
both
same
expert or ID
On the
whatever
same
it is,
element?
same element? No.
Element name have to be very unique. So let's say if I wanted to store this element,
I mean execute both at the same time by calling it from one element using comma.
you cannot execute two functions at the same time. Nothing, ever. But they happen very fast. And Java will read your code line by line. There is no way in the world you can actually have Java do two things at the same time.
But we can do methods.
You can call methods, but that method still, Java is going to go into the method and read line by line. It won't read two lines at the same time. But they happen very fast. So it's almost like instantaneous for us. But for Java, it's still, there's one, I'm done with this one, then I'll do this one. They only do one thing at a time. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So now that I have this is complaining right here. It's saying you have already stored this thing in here. So you have it over here, so that's going to be a problem. I'm just going to hash it out for now. Okay. So we got this. We went in. We have that storage for this. Over here, we try to handle it with try catch. Okay. I'm going to just take all this off, clean things up. Okay. And for now, don't worry about it. Well, we're going to need that. We're going to need the buy locator at least. I'm going to take this out. If you didn't want to use the buy locator, see, remember this one was the explicit wait we added, where we passed the driver and how long it's going to wait. Let's make that 10 seconds for now. And we said wait dot until expected conditions, visibility of elements located, and this one takes the buy locator. Okay. I don't have to put in this piece. I could even put all of this in here. Remember that left side is equal to the right side? So that wouldn't be a problem at all. But it's just cleaner if I take that and put it in here. The wait is going to be applied to that element only. It's going to wait for page title locator to show for 10 seconds. And then we did an assertion, and this assertion, we're also going to, I'm going to take it off. Not needed. Honestly, this is enough for your validation. If the element was not found, it's going to wait for 10 seconds and it's going to break. And it's going to give you a report. Somebody may not understand the report, but you will. Right? So let's go ahead and run this and see how it goes. And we are purposefully failing it because I put in fake password. Let's run it. There, it's gonna probably wait for 10 seconds. And this is why I didn't want to maximize the screen, so that I can pull it on the right side and still see when this came up. So after 10 seconds, it failed. Let me bring it information in the console. And expected condition fail, waiting for visibility. See this timeout exception? When do you get timeout exception?
And the explicit page.
When the failure happens due to
explicit wait.
yes, or where the explicit wait was applied. So you know if it's a timeout, then it's also going to tell you which element, dashboard, and waited, tried for 10 seconds. So all those things are talking to you about this code right here. It waited for 10 seconds that you assign. Waited for the visibility. Look at this. Visibility of element located. And here was the element. Even gave you the element identity picked up from page title locator, and there it is. Okay, you will know which element failed, and you can go and investigate further what went wrong. So this in itself is a good failure and enough failure report. You want to leave it at this? Totally fine. We're going to leave it at this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pass and look at our next step. We're done. Go to the text files, enter username and password, and hit submit. We need to open CRM and click on add contact. So let's take a look at it. And I'll introduce Expat Axis while I do that. So here's the file CRM, username, password, going in. See, it took a couple of seconds. So if you didn't put that explicit wait, it could have failed. We're going to click on this CRM, and then see, it took a second to open. We also have to put some sort of wait to click on this. Cheap and dirty, you could put thread sleep between click here, thread sleep, 2 seconds, click here. Okay, but you want to be fancy, explicit wait, right? But it's gonna get so much heavy. Every time we have to call all this, I'll show you an easy way to do it. Let's click on CRM. Let's see how it looks like. So here's the element for CRM. Right, click again. Do it several times. Okay, sometimes it just doesn't get to the right point. Now it got it. So I know it's for sure is this one, span, and not this one or this one. You can use by class if you want, if that class is unique. We don't know if it's unique or not, and not a good idea. And plus, you know how to use by class, so I'm not gonna even do it. I'm gonna use something that you don't know, which is Expat Axis. Expat Axis is basically allows you to go from top and anchor it to something and then get to where you want to go. Okay, it is kind of like a mixture of absolute and but better than that. Better in a sense, in absolute you have to put the number 1 and 2. You have to say div 1. Like let's suppose this one right here. See, there's an ID right here. So as I'm looking at this, there's no ID, and I know this could change tomorrow. If they change the class name and I do it by class, my expat is gonna fail. But they will never change the ID for this guy. Okay, and it looks like this ID is for this entire menu. So I could start my expat from here and then slowly get down to here. 2 ways to do that. One is a bad way to do it, like absolute expat. So let's get started first, and I'll show you how Axis is better than absolute. Who can tell me what's the first thing I need to put in for expat finding? Not you. Double. Double // and next thing I'll pick on you. Hang on a second.
Just rewrite the name.
Because I wasn't.
I'm gonna get you all a sheet of paper and you're gonna fold it into burrito fold, like a letter fold, and you're gonna write your name that I can call you by, short, not the whole thing, just first name or something, and just set it on your desk and I'll call you, ask you questions. Okay? Moon is gonna get us those papers shortly. So what's the next thing? If I wanted to catch this element, double forward slash, then what?
I know we have to use the keyword of the sandwiches, but I don't know where is that starting from. DIV or
So if this is the element I want to hook it to first,
then the U1, the tag. U1.
correct. UL.
UL.
Okay.
Okay. Starting from
Tag name. That's the first slice of the
But
sandwich.
how do you know where it's starting from? Like every arrow is showing.
This, if I want this node or this element, you just want to stay on that line. Sometimes that will end up breaking into somewhere else. Sometimes it may not even end. This one doesn't have the end of the slice. That's okay. You still have your tag name, which is the very first word that's there. So UL is actually an unordered list, if you remember from your HTML class. All right, so basically you fold it, don't write it yet, you fold it like this, kind of like a letter.
Yeah, it's here.
Thanks, Moon.
What is the pen?
And fold it like that.
Do you have enough?
You write your name
No.
on in the center and just set it like this so I can see it.
The name okay.
If you write it from, if you write it here and then set it like this, I will be able to see it.
Divided with the big one.
How do you pronounce it?
Qudsiya.
All right, so Deepika, what's next? Open, close, square bracket. Okay. After the open, close square bracket, some information needs to go in there. So I'm writing expat and you see ID. Obviously, you want to pick the ID. So double click there. Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and just bring it down here. Moina, before I put that attribute, this is an attribute, inside this square bracket, what special symbol I need to place?
Contents.
Anyone? At the rate symbol, because this is not a method. If it's a method, like what? If it's a method, then we don't put at the rate symbol. Like what? Which method?
Contains or text.
Contains or text. Okay. Don't worry about it if you don't know the answer. But this class is to build you with all that memory. So don't be embarrassed. Okay. Do be embarrassed if you don't know this in front of the interviewer. Still, I say don't be embarrassed. Okay. But take use of this class. Don't get embarrassment stop you from being your best. Right. So at the rate symbol and then Control V will give me that piece. And one last thing we change, which is, how do you pronounce it?
Anas.
Anas?
Yeah.
Anas, so what do I need to change here?
The double quotation
Correct. To what?
to single.
To single quotation. And we got 101. We're happy here. But that's not the element we want. We want CRM, which if I right click inspect again, takes me to this span. Dirty way of doing it, which bringing in some absolute expat system, that will be just creeping through a forward slash and going line by line down here. So first you got to go through this guy, which is what? LI. You will see it's gonna light up. That means you're doing it right.
There is two, right?
There's two of them. You have to go to the, not the first one, but the second one. So you have to put a square bracket and put 2. So you get to that. He's the father. These are the kids. And now you have to go through their children, and this is like grandbaby. So I'm here so far. I can just do a slash and say, hey, I am there. There's only one. Tomorrow, if there was 2, your expat will fail. Tomorrow, if there is another LI, your expat will fail. Okay. So not a good way to do it, but you can still get to that. Another forward slash and call it I, and another forward slash and say span. It didn't work. Okay? Why? That means this I and the span are on the same level. They are siblings, actually, brothers and sisters. So from here, I have to call forward slash, not I, forward slash span. Any one of these kids, they're on the same level. If they match a vertical line, then they're on the same level. So they're brothers and siblings.
Where did you get that 2 from? Right?
This 2 right here, I had to bring it in. Let's go back quickly. So I was right here. This is where I was. And I need to jump through different people to get to this guy. Okay? So this UL had 2 kids. One is LI1 and LI2. These guys are brothers right here. Okay? But this brother had a family down the line, has a grandbaby that we want to get to. So from UL, we don't want to go to this son because this grandbaby does not belong to this son, but it actually belongs to this guy. And you see UL has how many children?
Okay.
So we want to go to baby number 2 for UL, which is LI2. So forward slash, if I say LI, with open square bracket, and put a 2 and close square bracket, then it actually took me to that number 2 baby, okay, out of all of these. If I didn't put that, I am actually saying all of them, because if I hit enter, it's going to go to the next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, and keep coming back. But if I put square bracket and put 2, I'm stuck to that one. So with this baby, he had a baby, which is A, and this A's baby are these 3 guys. Do you see they're on the same line? These angle brackets are on the same horizontal line. That tells you that they are all same family, one parent, which is A. But I don't want to get to this child. I want to get to this. But there's 2 span. That also you have to specify. Anyway, let's get to this guy first. We're sitting right here now. So put a /A, I'm there. Put a / span. Guess what? Not good enough. How many are there? 2. Here's 1, and there's another one. So here again, I have to specify 1. And it will stick to that 1 and tell me there's only one of those. This is your absolute XPath, and this part is your relative XPath. Better than complete absolute XPath, but not good enough. And that's why you need XPath axes idea. In your math class, do you remember x-axis and y-axis? The idea comes from the same thing. There's an imaginary x-axis and an imaginary y-axis. Axis, A-X-E-S, versus axes. I keep forgetting which one is singular, which one is plural. I think my bet is this is plural. Let's check it. Axes versus axis is plural form of x. Plural form of word axis. So yes, that means this is plural and this is singular. Okay, now here's your notes and how you're gonna apply these notes. There are these words called following, ancestor, child, preceding, sibling, parent, descendant. Let's understand these words first, what they mean. Ancestor, what is that?
Grandfather, great.
Way up in the family tree, correct?
Yes.
So it could be your grandfather, great-great-grandfather, okay? All the way up to Adam and Eve, maybe. And you understand child. You understand parent. Descendant?
Great grandchild.
Yes.
Great grand.
Children way down, yeah? In the generation line. Or even future kids, descendants, okay? Following is just the ones that are right next to each other, okay? So on the axis line,
Following means next to each other. That means siblings or next to each other in the.
siblings,
Okay.
siblings, correct. So that's why you're gonna see following, you can add it to following sibling, or you could even say following parent. You can mix it up the way you want to. I'll show you some of those options. Preceding, so following is just the one next down, okay? Here's how it works. If I say following from this I, it's gonna be this guy. And if I'm here and I want to get to this level, I would say preceding. Okay, more of that in a second. But you got the idea of this wording. No problem with the definition? Okay. So it actually wrote it this way so that you understand the meaning. Now, I'm going to use certain combination of this to identify this element. So let's do that. So I'm going to delete.
I have a question here.
Sure.
Before you delete.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
After the UL, why did we use @id equals ID?
Does my head cover this?
No.
You can see. Okay. What was that?
Why did we use @id equal to side unit? This after UL.
That's part of the syntax.
If I didn't use it, it would work or
Not work.
but it work? I can highlight it without using it. I was able to highlight it without saying add ID equals ID.
I don't know why it highlighted, but when you bring it to Eclipse and then use it with Java, it's probably not going to work. Yeah.
By default.
Yeah, probably it shows you that it found something, but you need that XPath code to work with your Java and Selenium. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Just because it highlights doesn't necessarily mean it's working, but it does give you a hint that you're in the right track. Good. Okay, let's go back here. Now, let's look at our game plan. You gotta look at this family line and see I am here and I want to get to here. And you gotta wrap it up in some ways that it's not going to fail. Okay? What relationship I can pull with this span to this guy?
Descendant.
What?
Descendant.
Correct. Yes. If I said child, it's gonna get me to this level. Why do I need to creep through these? Because these could change, couldn't it? Didn't we say that could be one extra here, then we got messed up. You always need to find a very fast way, a shortcut way to get to this. So if child takes me here, and there's nothing else underneath that other than descendant, then descendant is going to take me all the way down. Okay, we do have to specify some things. Now let's say how we're going to do this. So you're going to do a double / and say descendant, and actually I think it's a single / I can't remember. Keep forgetting. And yes. So what you have to do is put a single / and write the word and put two double colon. After the double colon, what you could do, it didn't recognize anything yet because it's waiting for you to tell which tag name to go to. Okay. Now, if you put star means all. So if I just put star, I always like to do that just to see if my spelling was correct. Because if I put an A in here and I put a star and I got nothing, I know I made a mistake on my spelling. And these spellings, fonts are so small, sometimes it's easy to make mistakes. So always put a star first to qualify that this guy has 160 people down his line of descendants. Actually, this A is also descendant. Okay, all of this is descendant. Right now it's sitting right here, but if I hit another enter, it's gonna go here. It's gonna go through everybody. It's gonna break open all. We don't need all. So far so good. We got it working. We need to get to this right here, this element. So let me just delete that and CRM, inspect. That's the element I want. Obviously, you could say span. You need SPAN. And it didn't get to that because there was another span before it, and there's 19 of them. Okay. Now you need to think about what else can you wrap? What info in here that will probably not change? Who can tell me? What do you mean by name?
Yeah.
Correct. This text, CRM, chances are it's not going to change. You may ask, well, then you could have just created an XPath with that name. Yes, that would be the best way to do, but I won't be able to explain you the XPath axis. That's why I made it messy and more complicated just to explain it to
So
you.
in this scenario, we use expert access because it's like very complicated. Directly, we can use the relative expert. So, do we still
Do we
use
ever
this?
have to use this?
For this scenario, no.
Like
Okay.
for some other cases,
For some cases, you have no choice.
we have to use that.
It gets so complicated that you will have to use this knowledge to catch that. And that's what makes you different from regular engineer to the best. Okay. So
Excuse me.
if you can master this, play with it and know how it works and figure it out, I mean, you don't have to do it on the spot. Nobody will ask you to develop this in a second. And when you actually automate a test case, you're going to have hours and hours to do this. Okay? But if you know how to do this and you submitted your code with this descendant word, precedent, and you didn't put square bracket with a 1 and a 2, because if you put this square bracket with numbers, what does that tell me when I'm reviewing your code? You cheated. You right-clicked, and which my Indian guy does in offshore that I'm handling. And I have been kind of setting him off and saying, hey, no, we can't accept this. And then he's tried to do some, and then every once in a while he's gonna sandwich 1 or 2 in there because he wants to do shortcut. And I'm like, how many times am I gonna reject the code? Forget it, let me just accept it. So that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway, so yes. Let me finish this and then I'll show you that there's another way to do this too, shortcut faster. But I wanted to teach you how to get this descendant word in and used. So span, open, close. Notice that this is gonna now follow the same style as this. Okay. So span, we got the tag name, and this double colon separates. There's like 2 chunks. One is here, and now syntax is gonna start again here for this syntax. So same thing. I got the tag name. I got the open square bracket like we had it here, and you decide what you want that will be a good info, and you said that the text CRM is not going to fail. Then Babita, did I pronounce it right? What do I need to type in to capture this CRM text? Good. Open, close. And then what?
CRM.
Y'all can answer if you want.
Comma.
Not comma. Comma is only for what?
For contains.
For contains.
Equal, I think.
Text equal in the single quote CRM. CRM. And then
You mean like stick the in between line and go right to sound.
yes, you just jumped from here, right here, with the descendant word, you came all the way here. If they added more sandwiches in between, your code is not going. Your XPath will not. Let me just copy this for you for now. In here. And are you okay if I put it here as a library and give it a name? So can I say by, what was that?
CRM.
CRM what?
Locator.
Locator, CRM is what? Side nav, side oops, side nav is short for navigation locator, and store it here, and then whatever I'm going to do with that, I'll do it later. Say by.xpath. Okay, and in here I can paste that XPath. Just found the element, not going to do anything to it. Put all that into this name, then I can do something to it. Okay? All right. Yes, you could have just taken this much and still be successfully able to identify the element. In this particular case, I will keep the double forward slash and delete all of these to up to here, and it would still find 1 of 1 because that's the only thing that has the CRM text. But what if that CRM text was also found here?
It's going to show me.
It's going to show 2 of 2,
right?
1 of 2, or 1 of 3. But if you did it with this guy, what you did is it's like you're gonna trim down the tree. And how do they do that? Those guys, they will throw a rope above the branch that they want to cut. They'll throw a rope above that and then tie it there, and then tie the branch down, that the one they're going to cut, so that it hangs on it after they cut it. You're kind of doing that. You're throwing the rope right here because you know this branch actually covers these guys. See how it gets highlighted? So for this whole chunk, it's that guy right there, that branch. So if you put your rope and tie it on this, and then go down here and find that CRM, it will give you the CRM that's located in here, not in here. Does that make sense? It kind of sectioned it off for you, and that's why it's so important. All right, now we found that. Let's do another one. So we got this add contact that we need to click on. So if I inspect that, and that's this guy. Okay, so I want to make this more complicated. I mean, obviously this is an easy way to do it.
Yes.
What's the way?
Link.
It's a link text. So I could just say link text and just say add contact. If I give you an assignment and I didn't care about whether you wrote XPath Axis or not, you're going to use the shortcut easiest way. But because I'm going to teach you XPath Axis, I need to make it complicated. So suppose I'm stuck right here. I got this. I'm going to get out of this, get to that. All of that can be done with XPath Axis. You can move around the whole page all day long, wherever you want to go to with XPath Axis. And you need to be good at it. So, totally waste of time doing this, but you will learn XPath Axis, so I'll do it. I'm here, I need to get to here. I can't go from here to here. I have to go to their father first. Okay, I have to get out of this. I'm in here. I have to go to his father, actually this guy. And I'm gonna be okay because see this line kind of lining right here. Let me zoom that in. So once I get out of him, I need to get to the brother, brother's child, and then his child. And then I should be okay, right? So parent, sibling, agree that they're sibling right here. Same line. So parent sibling, child, child. Instead of saying child, child, can I say from here descendant? So we're wrapping a lot of things in here, and this might actually, if I cover enough, then I'm going to stop using this, and I'm just going to go fast track with you, okay? Just want to give you an example how it's done. So now that I'm here, who can tell me, how do I get from here to this guy?
Parent.
Parent,
Descendant. Descendant. Parent. Descendant.
Not descending.
well, I am the child, and I want to go to my,
Ancestor.
you could do parent or ancestor is fine. Parent will just get you to here. Ancestor will also get you to here, but could also get you to there, depending on which tag name you use. So I could say / parent colon colon. What am I going to do to see if my spelling is correct? Star. It took me to the parent. If I hit enter, it won't go anywhere else because there's only one parent. But if I said ancestor colon colon and put a star, it's gonna go way up there and even say these guys technically are ancestors. So all of these can be wrapped with that. So if I wanted to get to like this level of ancestor, I could just say ancestor UL. If I wanted to get to this level of ancestor, I could just say nev. Make sense? But I could not say parent. I can't say parent nev. Not gonna work. Because he only has one parent. And that's, what was that?
A.
I forgot. Where are we?
It's A.
That's A. Best thing for now to use parent. And even if you say star, you're fine because there's only one. But be more specific. Sometimes actually specific is not good because what if they change that parent tag to something else? So isn't this wonderful? You can say star. That means, hey developer, you want to put tomorrow div in the place of A? No problem. My XPath will still work. Because with that star, I'm going to capture whoever my parent is. Whatever name you want to give it. So sometimes the star can be a lifesaver. Now, I got to A. I don't have to put in, I could put in the square bracket, and just like we have this argument, like attribute, I could bring in another attribute here if you want to. As long as your syntax rule is working, you're following the same rule, you can repeat and repeat and write and make a long XPath. Nothing wrong with that. Longer you make it, actually, your boss is gonna look at it like, oh my god, he really knows so much. Yeah, because a lot of people don't know. They only know up to here. They don't know how to mess with even my boss doesn't know much XPath X. And he forgot because he's been managing so much and hasn't been actually working with it. So every once in a while, I go and help him out. Anyway, so here, now, because I captured this and this fine, I don't need to put any more attribute. But if you want to, you could. I need to get to from this guy to this guy. How would I do that? What's the relationship between this?
Follow.
Correct. Following what? Sibling. Sibling, because look at this line. See this line light up? And it's telling me this arrow and this arrow, these are brothers and sisters. There's another one down here, which is this guy. There's nothing there. Sometimes you're gonna get that. That's the element you gotta work with. There's nothing there, okay, at your workplace. Yeah. So anyway, here and here, I gotta do the same thing again. Here's that forward slash. Everything has to wrap with a forward slash. What did we say? The relationship? But following, if it's a sibling, you have to mention whether it's preceding, meaning the person comes before, or following, meaning after. We are here. Where are we?
Yeah, here. You're right.
A?
Yeah, we're
No.
on A. We're on A.
Here.
Oh, yeah. And we want to get to here. So anything down is following. Anything up is preceding. Remember, the father is right here. Ancestor. So it's a tree. It goes down the line. So now, if I type in forward slash following, and the way to write it, you have to put a dash and then sibling. You got the relationship. What's the syntax I need to use after the relationship? See? We're just repeating. Here's the forward slash. Here's the relationship. And close it with double quote. Here's the forward slash. Here's the relationship. Oopsie. And close it with double quote. And put what to see if your spelling is correct? Star. And when I did the star, it got lit up already. Excuse me. I didn't have to say UL. You could just take that star off and say UL, but there is only one sibling available. Your choice. Sometimes you might find star is better than UL. You decide. Your choice at that time. That's when your intelligence comes into place. I'll just leave it as UL just to keep a variety there. And now, again, I'm here. I need to get to here. I need to get to here. How do I get to this guy? I don't have to go through him, do I? You said descendant? Yeah, you could just go from here instead of saying child and that. You could say descendant and go even further down. Child will take you here. So if I wrote forward slash child, quoted, colon, star, it took me to one here, and the other one is right here. And I could say, but you know, that's, even if I said li, it's going to give me 2. That's not going to be good. Now I'm going to have to put the square bracket and put a 1. Hey, I'm defeating the purpose. I'm going back to absolute expert. I can't do that. So instead, child, not a good option. But descendant, follow the syntax. Single forward slash, relationship, double colon, start to check the spelling is correct. Yes, they found 4 of them. And I need to get to A. So if I just take the star off and put A, found 2 of them. Not good enough. Actually found this one and this one. Now, to make it more unique, I need to take some attribute out of this. Okay? I could take the text. I told you there's an easier way to do this, right? But I'm not making it easy. Because if I make it easy, I won't be able to teach you. So I'm going to go farther. We'll make it more complicated. I'm not going to use text I showed you. I'm going to use this href thing. So I got this href and then this stuff right here. Okay? What if I want to use some of it, not all of it? Correct. Very good. So this is coming to you, this logic, that's it. That's what I need from you. So I got the A. Notice, what does the syntax say? After I have the tag name, I use what? And then we'll use contains. For contains, we don't use @ symbol, so you know that. So this same repeated thing, you can keep adding to it and it will continue working for you. It's amazing. So I'm all the way down here. Now I'm going to add square bracket. Inside the square bracket, @ would say it contains, yes. Contains, open, close, inside contains. We need this guy, right? But is href a method or an attribute? Attribute. Method has what? Open, close, parentheses. This one doesn't. So it's not a method. If it's an attribute, you have to use what symbol? @ You have to put the @ right before that. And then if you say href equal to, can I use equal to here?
Yes, because we are using it.
Because you're using R.
No. I think that is in comma and then single quote we have to raise. We can check if we show one by one of it.
It has to go as a perimeter.
Because
It has to go as a perimeter, which is separated by a comma. So contains, you cannot use equal sign. That's the only place you use comma. And now you can put single quote. See, you got a light up already? And you can just use some of it. Any. You want to say what? See, we got
Add.
2 of these right here. Just keep your eye on. I'll keep typing and see when we can get to something unique. It has this billing.
I think add will be there, right? Add.
Could be this add.
Yes, add.
All right, let's just say add.
It will be unique. Yeah.
That gave us unique. But if I said HTT,
I think there,
yeah, there might be 2. See,
because
T,
there is a list contact.
P, still there's 2. But a unique part of that URL is,
it's like this. Adding something.
yeah, because it was more relevant. Okay. Totally not needed for this particular case. But I want to take this, copy it, because I'm going to give you this as a notes, and you can kind of play with it and see how I wrote it. If you wanted to practice, you can come back to this example and see, oh, I maybe missed a / here, that's why it wasn't lighting up. You know, those kinds of connections that you need to make. So by, and this was
Add contact.
add contact. Add contact side nav
Okay.
locator. Okay, big name, but hey, it tells you what it is. By XPath. Man, it's gonna be a huge XPath. Whew. But your boss is gonna be like, she knows it. Yeah, she's the go-to person.
They're saying why she, because everyone is.
All right,
Because
Why he?
are we good here so far?
Can I leave?
Huh?
Can I leave or something?
You
No.
said,
Unfortunately.
she's go-to person, and then you said, why she? Why not he?
Oh, I see.
That's what you say. Right.
I'm not chauvinistic or racist here. I'll say he next time. All right. Good so far. We got this element. Let's go do our thing. Now, our next thing is we need to open CRM and click on Add Contact. So we got these elements. Let me drop these guys down because this just closes the window. Waiting for the dashboard page to show up. It showed. Move on to the next step. You all need a break now?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just do one click?
Sure.
Okay. Open CRM. Driver. Dot find element. Look at this option now. What do you want to click on? Hey, you got a library for you. Who made it? You. You made these libraries. And it just showed up right here. Who you want to click on? CRM site nav. Select that. Dot. Not clear. Okay, we'll click on it. Let's run it. Wouldn't it be so easy if you had all these elements identified there? You just type, click, send keys. So easy. All right, here we go. Did it click on it? And it got opened up, close, passing, fine. Let's take 5-10 minutes. 5? 10? 10 minutes. Okay. Be back on time because I'll get started right away. All right, guys, let's get started. So we clicked on this right here. This clicking does not need any weight assigned to it because we're waiting for the page title to show up already. By the time the page title shows up, CRM site navigation will show up. However, clicking on it, after you click on that, clicking on add contact site nav does take a second to open. Because it takes a second to open, you have to put a weight on these guys. Not necessarily this one. To add contact, I gotta put a weight. But it's just so tedious of doing WebDriver weight all the time like this and then putting a weight. Can we not have a simpler way to do that? Yes. How? If we repeat it, if we use the code over and over in Java, what do we use? Method. We create a method. This whole action, we give it a small name and call it. What could be a good reasonable name for this whole action? What are we doing here? Waiting for visibility of an element, right? Keep it short. How about wait for element? So what you can do, if I want this method to be in this particular page, let's see. And call it from here, you could do a reverse engineering. You could give it the name of the method yourself immediately. How do you want it? Wait for element. You gave it a name and you wanted to use it right there. Open close parenthesis, must. That's how Java knows that's a method. And you have to pass in some parameters. Same parameters that this guy, these two lines needed. We're going to take these two lines, put it inside that method. Can you tell me what parameters I would need to pass?
integer.
Can you repeat your question?
I think it's the locator, the path.
So scan these two lines. When you instantiate and when you call this, are there some parameters you're taking here? Are there some information in these two lines? What is it? And that's what you have to pass it to them.
How many seconds?
You got one.
Driver
How
we are
many
passing.
seconds?
Driver we are passing.
You are also giving that method to the driver to that method.
And
What else?
locator name.
And who you want to use that weight to. So you have to find out those things. What do I need to give it? Because now a method is like a room. If you take all this code, this is a machine, right? This is a roti maker. And you had the flour and a little bit of oil and water, and the machine made bread for you. Now you want to take this machine and put it in a different room. You have to find out what ingredients you are putting into the machine to make that bread come out. Okay? And you just found out those are three things. That means those are the three things that you have to pass it to that room. Order, your choice. How you want to do it? Tell me. What do you want to pass first?
Driver.
Yeah, it's maybe easier to just go these two first, then this one. Okay. Because it's there. I can't say driver. Well, yeah, you can. You can pass driver. You're going to pass driver with the comma. Then what you're going to pass?
Time.
The time, 10 seconds. It is integer. And last thing,
Title. Locator. Should be.
okay, so I can just copy that. Now, let me not mess this one up. Let me just leave it there. But I already clicked on CRM. I need to click on add contact, site nav locator. Can I just take this one? Because I want to wait on that. I want to put a wait on that add contact before it starts clicking on it. Because if I don't, it's going to take a second to wait, a second to open. Java will not wait a second. Java will start clicking on it, won't find it, fail it. So I want to put a wait on this guy, add contact, site nav locator. So I will just pass this one in here. With me so far? A shortcut key, Control-Shift-F is going to align all your code. Always do that. Look what happens. It got some way aligned, cleaned up a little bit. All right. Control-Shift-F, O takes off unused imports. If there are some imports right here that hasn't been used, it will clean that up too. Now, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. We got a red line. We got to solve that. So if I hover over, it tells me the method wait for element. Look, what is it taking? Not driver. He actually smart enough to say the type of it. What is that taking? Int and the by locator with the by is undefined for type add contact test. Add contact test is the class. Later on you will understand the class is the type. Your head is going to explode when you get to that level. Java digs so deep. Anyway, so it gives you a suggestion. It says, do you want to create that method? Because it's not there. Create method. You click on it, it will automatically do it for you. So if I click on it, look down here,
That's easy. Like,
yeah, it added this called private because it's part of this class only. You won't be able to use it in any other class. Later on, we want to change that to public because we want to call it from another somewhere. I need to do Control Shift F to align it. Now it got nicely aligned. This is the method name. Here it already wrote WebDriver type and taking driver. Int with an I, a variable, and by, and it actually copied that, but you probably don't want to use that. Remember how when I use a Java method, you know this, when we tried to use set property, it gave us some hint of what to put in here. It just said string of characters. Remember that? Wouldn't it be better if it said path of the Chrome driver? That way you don't have to memorize it. But whoever wrote it didn't write it. Didn't write it right here. So whatever you write here is going to show up on your method saying what to put in. So this is fine, clean. Int I doesn't really say what it is. You can change that to time in seconds. Whoever wants to use your method, whenever they call this, look at this. It's not giving me suggestion. Come on. Okay. No, it's not working yet. But you want to be very specific on that, because that's how it's going to show up. It needs the driver, it needs time in seconds, and not always add contact. I'm going to use it for all elements, any element. So by, if you have a by, always use the word locator. So you need a by type of locator. Int in time in seconds, WebDriver driver, and all that. This is the body part. You don't need this. You can delete it. The whole thing is called a method stub. It doesn't have anything in it. You can now copy this whole thing, that roti maker machine, and you put it in this room. Okay? With me so far? Now you don't want these data to be hard coded. So whatever passing here, this has to match with this. You're passing this has to match with that. If you say 10, you're hard coding it here. You don't want that. Okay? If Kamal comes in and opens the door and puts 20 right here, I want that 20 to go here. 20 drops of oil. Okay? I don't want 10. I just put the machine there, whatever you want to put it. It goes through this guy. This is the bridge. You open the door, here's what you have to give it to. So that means that's what you want to replace this 10 with. Okay. I don't always want page title locator. Wait for that only. You give me any locator, that's what I'm going to put it right here to wait for it. Clear? Got it? Any question? Done. That's it. Now, all you do is just say wait for element. You tell what driver, how many seconds you want to wait, and who do you want to wait for. It will wait it for you. So we wait that for that. It's going to wait. And now we're going to click on it. So we say this step. And in this step, we're going to say driver dot find element by, look, we already have it. Add contact side nav. Oops. And dot click. Run it. Went in, clicked on CRM, waited for add contact to open, clicked on it, whatever second it took. Very smart, very intuitive, does not waste time, kind of like a human being. If it took 10 seconds, it will wait for 10 seconds and then click on it. You have provided intelligence to your test case with just a simple wait formula. Next time, you never have to mess with this dirty stuff. You only have to use the word wait for element. Simple. You can do this thing over and over on any code that you see is getting complicated. You wrap it into a method, make it simple, and forget it. And then life gets easier down the road. Okay, now, if no questions on this, online folks, you okay?
Yes.
Any questions?
All good, thank you.
All right, let's finish this test case up and then move on to our today's topic, which should not take too long either. Now, zipping through this, we're done with expat axes, so I'm gonna go in here and let's fill in this form. And just bear with me because now I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna plug in information here, all of these, and hit submit and show you how to use a maybe select class, or maybe not today. We can do it another day. So I have to find these elements, and here's what you do. You open these elements. You know this is an input box, so it's going to start with input. First name, here's an ID, account. And you can do it this way. Split screen up. That's going to be too hard for you to see. Yeah. If I had two screens, then I would have done that. One screen would be HTML, and the other screen is going to show me Eclipse. So we don't have that. But let's go back and forth, and you can also verbally tell me what to do. Here's library of elements. So I'm going to first go in here, go hash out all those elements. Okay? That way I focus on one task at a time. By full name, input field locator. Okay? Driver, I can just probably copy paste a lot. Find element, by dot, there was a ID. This time we're just going easy. Whichever is most relevant. See that ID? Account. Come on. Oh, doesn't want to. I'll type it in. Did I do something wrong? I should not have driver here. ID. Okay. Copy. Oopsie. Paste. 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 Most likely they have them. Next one. Company name. Company.
ID.
Okay. Email, phone, address, city. So not name, right? Yeah. Okay. What was that?
I think the drop. No, the state.
State zip. Don't worry about this one. And I don't think you even need all that extra info. Let's just do it. State.
Region.
Is region needed? Not needed. Let's just say state and zip. Some have to be unique. And country is fine, and tag we're gonna leave it, and select class I won't show you today because I won't be able to finish what I have today planned, so we'll do it another day. So we'll go all the way up to just zip. Okay. And because for this test case I do need to show you one other thing. Company name, email, inspect. We got email. Okay, let me just take some information down first. Phone, we have phone. Address ID is address. Huh, easy. A good developer would do it this way. City, state, and zip. So let's just go ahead and do that. Email, all lowercase. Phone, address, city, state. Was it state? Okay. And zip. Right. We got these elements found, and now what do I want to do to it? Here's the thing. Each time you run a test case and enter full name, company name, they have to be unique. Because if you created an account and they find the same name, it's going to tell you name already exists. So how do I, in automation testing, how do I make it unique? What can I do?
Go to the subtype. Go to the next word tab.
Explain.
For example, phone is already there. So go for phone underscore number.
A number. Tell me more about a number.
For example, I will go by the number 53, state. It's written state. If you have one more state, then you would go for state / and then region is there in the input.
Yeah.
So you would take the both the title and the subtitle, both word keywords syntax.
Okay, I can see that working. I'll give you an easy way. How about we generate a random number? Each time it goes in and types a name, it will slap a random number on the back of the name and then type that in there. So it will never be, chances are it will never be same. So how do we do that, right? The question is, how do we do that? And also, for me to put in a variable, like what do I want to put in for full name, company, I have to have the data. How am I going to get the data? It could come from Excel file. AP showed you how to use Excel in your code. You can have a JSON file in one of these folders right here. You can get it out of a JSON file. You can create a class for data that can randomly create names of people for you. All of those fancy things can be done. Can't show you today. I will just use the cheap and dirty method, which is store it right here in this page. String, full name, and store it here like that. Okay? Later on, I'll show you how to bring it from Excel. I'll also show you how to get data from XML file. We may show you how to do it with JSON file. Okay? But I'll show you how to randomize and put data here. Okay. Now, so I'm gonna have a name, full name, company name, all of these guys. Let me just save it here for now. Okay. This is company name. Understand this because you're going to be needing it for all of your test cases. Otherwise, you will run it first time, it's going to take it fine. Next time you run it, it's going to say duplicate. Sorry, it already exists. You are going to have to use this idea of randomization. But I'm just getting the grounds ready. Company name, email.
But does it take a
I think we can just take 4 or 5 fields.
It takes
That
string.
will be enough.
Everything goes on a website is a string. Anything you type in, always string. Then if the API takes that string and converts it to an int to do some calculation, it can do that later. But everything comes out and goes in as string.
Even if it is number.
Even if it's a number, it will be given to you as string. Then if you need to do some calculation, you have to convert that to integer yourself and then do the conversion. But what goes in comes out string. That's it. That's why we're going to store it in string. Email, address. Let's just name all this: city, state, zip. I think that's it. Don't need all that. You could also skip some of these. Not mandatory. And some have to be unique, others don't. So you can kind of skip through some of these things just to get your automation done. Don't have to hit all the fields to test it.
city is data? Not gonna be specified.
Probably so. Probably so. Now, here's what you're gonna do to generate a random number. There's a class, interview question. How do you generate a random number? You're gonna say I use the object of a random class. Random, you give it a name. Typically, they write RND. In short, equal to, who can tell me? If I'm instantiating an object of the random class. New, you got it memorized by now. And then what? Random. Open, close. And import random Java util. Okay. With me so far? I got this agent. His name is RND. He can generate random number for you. If you just say RND dot, he has ways to do that for you. Next int is what you want. Next int with something called int bound. Boundary is a short bound. You specify how many digits maximum you want that random number to come out as. So if you take that particular one, and now it's asking you how many digits maximum. Well, let's just say 3 digits. Okay, you can do as many. We'll just keep it simple. 3. What's the best 3 numbers I can put in here as a maximum? Triple 999. Because if I add one more to it, it becomes a 4 digit. So the maximum of 3 digits you can have is 999. All right?
But it hasn't to be like.
Does not have to be. If you wanted 1000, that's fine too. Maximum will be 1000. Minimum will be 0. Between 0 and 1000, it's going to randomly generate a number for you and give it to you. Okay. Now, this part right here, when you run this whole thing becomes a random number. This thing all disappears, a random number comes in. But we're not storing it anywhere, are we? We didn't store it. It doesn't. We're not doing anything to it with it. It came and gone and vanished. We gotta put it somewhere. We gotta put it somewhere and put it on the back of whoever's name we want it. So let's say I want to have Deepika. Okay, and I want to have a number after Deepika, and then that random number, right? So you're gonna put a plus here, and then put in this number right here, whatever that is. You could actually take this whole thing, copy that, and put it right here. That generated a number, and it's gonna slap it on the back of the name, and Deepika is gonna go to State Fair with that. Okay. But I want it for the company name, email, and all that as well. That means, do I do this with this here too? It's going to generate a different number. So if a company name is Tech Files, and I put a plus and R&D, give me next int of this random number is going to be different from this random. Really not needed, right? We could just generate one. We're calling this method so many times, driving the Java nuts. Instead, can I just generate it once? Store it. How would I store this? Int, give it a variable name, random number equals. There you go. So now we generated a random number and we stored it in an int called random number. And instead of giving this guy generating every time, I can just say whatever the number we got that first time, take it, slap it on the back, good enough. That same number, slap it on the back of the Tech Files company name. Same thing, do it for email. Actually, I have to do it right here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because sometimes it will be like, we don't accept numbers
That's why
after
I was
.com.
saying that, can we do it also?
Yeah, look at this. This is called concatenation in your Java class. You can put, I like to put quote plus plus quote.
And then the middle we can put.
Bad thing is it added one extra quote right there. So you gotta delete that. And then inside in here,
We can put that.
you copy this. Same thing, address 123 street, and you know what? Maybe I could just say
There's a run.
random number here, and then plus street. City, Irving, plus random number. Oh my God, this is taking so long. Texas. This is not unique. I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, 75062. Keep it simple. All right, got it? You have generated data yourself. You don't need data. You don't need Excel. You have generated your own data. So you can go out there for a company. They don't have to give you anything, and you generated data. You can put this in a separate class. This part of the code, this much, on a separate class, and have a method for getting this full name. Have a method for get company name. Method is gonna say get company name. Method is gonna get email address, and that's gonna give you a brand new unique email address each time, and you keep using that data. Okay, very powerful. Now let's insert all of these data into these places. So we have to follow the sequence. We're here now, and our first thing is driver.find element, and we're looking for full name. Enter. Dot send keys, and in here we're gonna send key. We said full. Did it give me that list?
No.
And other IDEs will give you that. If I choose that, oh, see, this list should have been already populated saying full name, company name, email. With other IDs, they do that. This one, every once in a while, it does that. So I could take this full name, pass it in here. All right. Now, just copy paste everything. Fill in the form and hit submit. See, if I deleted that, the other ID would give me the list already. This one doesn't. So it's really not that great. And now next one was okay, let's do this really fast. Help me out, guys. What's the next info? Company. Dot send keys. What? And I hate that I have to copy this. In IntelliJ, it will give it to me right here. And I don't even have to copy that. Email dot send keys. Just email.
Just
Okay. Next, driver dot find element. What's after email? Is it address?
Phone.
Double checking email address. I forgot the phone.
Where is it?
Phone is up there.
Right here we
Phone
have
is
the
51,
element,
but it's 51.
and phone is after email.
Yeah.
So let's just add another one.
Around.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. Plus random.
Can you add one more?
Sure. I don't think it's gonna mess up.
Random number is not highlighted.
Dot find element. Phone.
Phone.
Dot send keys.
Phone.
Phone.
Can you go back? Oh.
Where was I?
Address.
Here.
Yeah.
Driver dot find element.
Address.
Dot send keys.
Just address.
Was there anything else?
No.
City.
Yeah.
City.
Like that. See, it got lit up. That means it found a connection.
So it should be on the same sequence also, right? If we write the address, phone down, and
If needed, but if not,
is
If-
it going
if-
the setting
if-
is going line by line? So if we phone address first and phone it will get skipped. So can we write phone down also? Does it
if this field depends on this field,
then
that when you type in state only populates a certain number of zip, then you have to do it in a sequence. But because this is not calling any API and they're not dependent at all, you can put this data first, then this one, doesn't matter which order you do it. But who wants to do
yeah.
in weird order, right? Just makes things complicated. So that's why city dot, now it's just busy work. So what's after city? State and send keys. State, it got lit up. That's good. Driver dot find element and zip dot send keys and zip. Done. Let's plug this in and see if it plugs. F11. It didn't.
Do the program.
Why? Let me get rid of these guys and not close
Maybe I
it.
think it gets so fast.
No, it did not.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
You got
we-
the answer.
We need wait effort every time.
It went there. Add contact.
Yeah.
See, it did not do
Yeah,
program.
full name, company name, it didn't put their address and all.
But we never did 571 street.
So I think random number it's not printing, right? Or the random numbers.
Address
whatever
is
we have.
fine. City is fine. Here's the random number 571.
Oh, city is this.
Okay.
But I think name, full name, company.
State zip.
This was
But
constant.
this
short code.
information was not typed in. Somebody said
Yesterday I had the same problem when we discussed it.
it opened a little bit slow,
Yeah, it should be waiting.
and Selenium tried to type this in, but
So
it didn't
fast.
open yet.
Yeah, it did open here. Yeah, so that's
We
why
need to
these
wait
weeks-
for this to open. So we need to wait for an element. Which element? We already have this element, this element, this element. Can I just wait for that element
This one.
So can we just
and
wait
then
for-
execute typing in?
Yeah. Or can we wait for the add contact page?
You
The whole.
you could wait for this, but I think this showed up and then this showed up later. So most appropriate would be waiting for this element and then type it. Okay, that's how it's done.
So we can check with the thread.sleep right now.
Sure, if you wanna do dirty to see if that's the real problem or something else, you know, THRE thread dot sleep. You're just kind of ruling out. Let's give it 3 seconds to be on the safe side and run it again. If it passes this time, then you know it's that problem. It's a wait problem. So let's see. There you go.
Can we almost fill up from bottom to top? No.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's
There.
So you know it was the weight issue. That means you have to put weight. You could put a weight on this one, and this could take another second to show up, and it won't type this one, miss this one, and go.
Okay.
But if you put a weight for this element, we already have it. Why don't we just put a weight for that one? One is enough, because when this shows up, I think all of these rows show up. If not, you have to put weight for every single one of these. But no worries, we got a fancy little method that does it for us. We just say wait for element, and we pass in who we want to wait for, how many seconds we want to wait for. So here's our first thing we're typing in, the full name. We have to put a wait right before it. Where that code goes matters, because Java executes line by line. So because my first full name wasn't being typed, I'm going to come one step before and say, here's that method name. I call this method and pass in driver, time, and element located. So wait for element, open close parenthesis, semicolon to close, pass in what? Driver, comma, time, 10 seconds. This, you can put 60. It's not going to slow things down for you, because it's not going to wait till 60. And then full name, we already have a locator.
So why our weight is not showing the arguments we are passing the name?
This ID is free, and if you pay for, then you'll get all that other fancy.
Okay.
When you go work for somebody, there's gonna be paid and license, and you, as soon as you get to this line, you will see a window open up with all of these, and you just click on it, click on it, click on it, click on it. It gets much easier. So you got yourself, double clicking highlights the whole thing. Control C, Control V. Wait for it, 60 seconds, not needed. Oopsie. 10 seconds, fine. Control Shift F will align it. Now let's run it. I didn't, stop.
Thread.sleep, we have to remove.
Yeah,
You can close it actually.
yeah. Alright,
Control Shift L.
I can get rid of this guy. Don't need it. But do use thread.sleep, thread.sleep,
To
thread.sleep
debug it.
every step just for you while you're building it. Okay? You're building something, you want to see, slow down and check every step how it's happening. And then when your whole baby is done, and then you take those weights off and then see if it passes. If it doesn't pass, oops,
Put it back.
I need to put explicit weight there. Okay, but if it passed, I don't have to put any weight there. And then you clean up your code, your baby is done. You let it run a few times in your local machine. It's really like, bringing up a child. Then they're gonna fail sometimes. You're gonna hold their hands, they're gonna wake up, and then they're gonna try to balance themselves. Every now and then it's gonna fail because either the network slowed down and you didn't put a weight in that place, you didn't know that you had to put a weight, So when they fall, you're like, you bring them back, put some band-aid on them, and then send them out again, and they'll be running. When you send them, you build them into a soldier, putting all those bandages, they're good. Now you can send them on Jenkins, which is going to be the last class that I'm going to show you, which is the online running. It's not going to run from your computer anymore. You send out your soldier, baby soldier, into that cloud. And in the cloud, he's going to be running this automation. And every once in a while, he's going to get shot. That's when you see this red bar. You bring him back down and you maintain him. You massage him a little bit and then fix this XPath, fix that XPath, and put him back again in the battlefield. All right. And that's what's going to be your job, basically. On a daily basis, some of your soldiers are going to get shot. Okay. When you have like 100 of them test cases, you're going to get 5 test cases failing. Okay. And then you have to maintain them. That takes time too. So your first couple of hours of your work, you will go in, log in, go check the Jenkins website where your test cases, your soldiers are testing, and see who got shot. You look at it, look at the report, find out, was it a real like test case you broke or website broke? If it's a website broke, congratulations, you got a bug. Okay, you write a bug report, you give yourself a pat on the back. Your automation did something. If you see, it wasn't a bug, poor guy got shot, all right, then you bring him down, you massage him, put some band-aid on him, change the XPath, okay, because
So
put some weight on it, on certain steps, put him back again, and then let it run again, okay?
So in real scenario, basically what happens in major cases, the automation code found the bug or the script is wrong.
50-50.
Or
Initially, for me, it was like my code. My code was failing a lot. XPath was number 1. Later on, weight, other things that I had to figure out. Now, it's very rare that it fails. We're a really solid company, and our team, we try to, if I see anything failing, I take it down so that nobody can see it, just to save our face. Because everybody's seeing that all the test case runs in green or red. Company, everybody can see it. So we only want to leave it red if it's a valid failure. But if I see the test case broke because I didn't do something wrong, I disable it, which I'll show you how to do
it
that.
will take time to figure it out, right?
And it can take 4 hours. It can take a day for you to just maintain it, fix it, run it again. Still not running. What am I doing wrong? So those are your workload as well. You will write a ticket for that work. You're saying, I am working on, your ticket is going to say, updating test case, user should be able to add content. Update and relaunch of this test case. And with that ticket, you can put some story points on it, saying it's going to probably, it's a 3-pointer or 5-pointer. 3-pointer, maybe it's going to take you a day, half a day to a day. 5-pointer, it could take you 2 days.
If the test case is failing, so you double check with the manual testing, right? Then
Absolutely.
you assure yourself
Absolutely.
whether it's our code problem or the bug problem.
Absolutely.
Right?
Is it getting hot in here?
Yes.
Is there an AC control or something?
It's outside.
Okay, I'll fix it in a minute. So, good conversation. Let's do this more later, okay? Because I got like so much information to cover. Good so far. It worked. It did type in all this information. We're gonna hit submit, click on another page, and validate and be done with this. And then we'll take a break. So, sure. Go ahead. I'm gonna multitask.
And it's not a random number, it's the same number 851851 is coming.
For every form, one
So it's
random
generated
number.
one time, right? And
Okay.
You all answered that question. It's good.
Everyone is going to be one.
While I do this.
Every time, for every Deepika, is only one. So another
so
form.
you tag is like 871, and everywhere it will get stuck with you.
Your address is 8700, phone number is 8700, everything is yeah.
Submit button locator. Are you okay with that name? Buy.id. I just checked the ID for that. It's called submit. I just got my element. Here I'm typing in all this name, and I'm going to click on that button. Find element. Submit button. See that? The first thing.
Yeah.
Click on it. Enter. Not send keys on submit button, but click on it. Done. It's going to work. I don't need to show you now. After I do that, I need to open list contact. What kind of element? Link text. Link text, that's the text. So copy that. Here's my element library. You always go to the library. Here's your element library. You pile up all your elements here. By, what was that? List, contact, what was that? Side, nav. Okay. We saw it was by dot link text, and we copied the text right here. Done. Okay. Now we're going to click on that. I don't have to open CRM. Notice the event. When I opened CRM, it was already open. If I open one more time, CRM, it will get closed. And then if I try to click on list contact, it's not going to find it. It has to be open for Selenium to see it. So those events you got to be careful of. So here I am, submitted. Click on list contact. Step 7. Driver.find element list contact locator side nav dot click. It will work, trust me, and validate, verify that contact added. Okay. After 7, 8, here we're going to verify. Let's go ahead and run it once and see where we end up. Gonna go really fast, so see if you can remember that random number. Deepika 904. So we need to validate that that appeared or not. There's a fancy way of doing this. There are a lot of things go in place in this. One is this Deepika today shows up on this column, tomorrow could be in this column. That's called dynamic table, dynamic web table. And there's a fancy way of doing that. There's a lot of method needed to, if you want to make your picking this Deepika dynamic, meaning doesn't matter wherever it is, it's going to find where the column is saying name and then look for this list of data and get it out of there. Not the scope of today's class. I have another day for it. But shortcut, quick and dirty, inspect this. And you can use XPath axis to get smart at this though. And I'll show you the logic behind it. Inspect. Let's set it up first. Control F gives me that window. Again, right click. there's that element that gives me that Deepika. Make it a little bit larger. Do you understand that the Deepika needs to be under this column? So could we not anchor our expat to this name element first and then look at the very first row data to see if this name matches with Deepika name that we provided? Okay, so a lot of things goes in place in verification. This is probably by far most intelligent piece of your test case. So you got to think a lot of things. A, you have this Deepika 904. Next time it's going to be Deepika some other name number, but you have it. You stored it with the string full name, so you got that. That is your expected data. And then you have something called actual data or displayed data, right? So two things in validation or verification, you have to deal with two things. One, you have to compare. This is basically a comparison. Between two things. One, you have to have an expected data, and you have to have an actual data. Expected data, something you already have or given by somebody. They told you this is how it should be. Your requirements say that. Actual data is what is displayed in the web app or website. You compare this to how you want to compare it, that's up to you. If you want to say they have to match, you can say that. If you want to say they have to be equal, you can say contains. If you say equals, you want them to be 100% same. If you say contains, then some part of it can match and you're still okay with it. Less restriction, better. You want to be too tough on your comparison? It could fail, cause you some maintenance. Okay, so you want to be less strict. Don't be too strict. Not always the good thing. So our expected data we already have. We already created a random example, Deepika with a random number. Okay, 90. Next time it's going to be something else. And we are going to go to the website and get the actual data example. And we're going to pick it out of this element right here. Whatever that element is, give me text. Give me something. Give me the data out of the cell. And then I'm going to compare it with this and see if they match or not. If match, pass. Doesn't match, fail. And we're done with this test case. Now, to get this, easy but a very smart way to do this is look at this table structure. Starts with the table. You can get to the very first row by just using your tables idea from HTML class. Or you could also anchor this to this name field first with the with the expat axis that you learn. You could start from here, go up, come back down, and then get to where you want to go. You can do it that way too. I'm just going to keep it simple right now. We're just going to go and get this first one. Now, If I just hit // and say table, it gives me 1. That means there's only one table, so we're happy with that. Went to the table. I need to get to which is row, first row, okay? Notice it matters for me now that I put a number 1 for that first row. So from this table, I want to go to table row, TR, didn't work for me. So I have to say, who can tell me what XPath axis I'm going to need to get to from here to here? Descendant. So 1 / descendant ::* I made a mistake on my spelling. A. Okay. Is it readable?
Yeah.
Okay. We got the star, but we want to go to table row. It took me to this. He's considering that is the first row. I need to go to table body. That's a table head and then row. Table body and then row. So I could actually put T body here,
T.
and then it took me there. See this? If I highlight here, it highlighted that row. So now it bypassed this head. It went to T body and then T row. Okay. And I want this TD. This is the first data. This is second data. See how if I hover over, here's first data. See how this is getting highlighted. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, kind of like that. So for now, we're hard coding. We want data out of this row. Okay. So TR, TD. Yes, I am using absolute XPath. TD 2. Okay. / A. See what's happening? If I say TD2, it keeps taking me down. Not good. That means I have to also specify which row I want to be on. So you have to say 1. Now it's stuck there. Remember this quick and dirty. TD 2, and there you go. Okay. It is absolute, somewhat absolute XPath, but guess what? You are specifying that cell only. It will always be that cell, that row, that particular cell. But tomorrow, if Deepika moves to this cell, your XPath will fail. What are the chances? 10%. Not a lot. You can get away with this. Okay. But if you use dynamic web table ways to do that, that is the most complicated thing you will learn in my class. And that is going to be asked in the interview. And if you can answer that, dynamic web table. If you can answer that, how to create a dynamic web table or get elements, guaranteed job. Guaranteed. Nobody can explain this. Even my boss has a accent in his, I mean, he knows a lot. A lot of people know a lot. They can't explain it. But if you can explain that, it's crazy. All right, but
Do they ask it every time?
they will ask you this. Must. How do you handle dynamic web table? they're going to ask you, but you don't have the answer yet because I didn't take you there yet. Are you happy with this XPath for now? We know that it's going to take this first cell. So far, so good. We're fine with it, okay? So, and one other thing, we know this information lies a little bit deeper in here. You have to put the slash and a. You gotta, if you want this text out of this node, make sure that node got highlighted. And we had to put a /a to get to that. So I'm going to close it with that and take this XPath, go to my element library, give it a name, by yeah, actual, you could say actual, but how about more specific?
Name field.
Display.
Added newly added displayed content.
But locator we have to add, right?
Locator, correct. Newly added content.
Okay.
Locator. And now we can say by dot XPath. Put the XPath. Not link text. I did. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
X. Oops. Are we okay? All right.
So here we cannot use any other. Simply we can use a link test also, right? But or here we in this condition we can use this. This
If
extra.
you use, good question. If you use link text, it is a link text. Here's the problem. How do you know that link text? If you know already, doesn't that defeat the purpose of comparing? Our assumption is that this never posted here. We're trying to see if it breaks. So we don't want to know what's there. We want to just get it and then compare. Only way you can catch a link text by knowing the text of the link. I don't want to know what that is, but I will take it and then compare with what I have, the expected. This is actual. I want to compare with expected and then see if they match. Okay. If you use link text, you have to specify the text. Then you're defeating the purpose.
Okay, so with this expert basically we are retrieving that data.
Yeah, expert doesn't care what is there. Expert is just a location.
Yeah, expert is a location, but we are writing up /a, right? So
And it takes you to that node.
do that.
Node. But that node could have somebody else's name.
Yeah.
But if I specify, then I defeat the purpose. I don't want to know what's there, but just give it to me. And I'm going to compare it with what I have. And if they match, we're good to go. All right. So now let's go get that and let's go match it and finish off. How do we do validation?
Assert.
No more if condition. It's assert.
Assert.
Assert
Oh,
is
yeah.
will do the if condition for us. Okay. So here's our newly added displayed contact locator. That's what's gonna give me the what's displayed, meaning actual data. And where is my expected data stored? Full name. Full name is gonna have Deepika and the random number. And this element is gonna get me what's displayed on the website. And I'm gonna compare those two things. Okay. So you just have to know about that. I could say string expected data, probably AP did it that way. String expected data, and then that was the expected, and then actual data, and then you write actual and then expected, and then do that. That's baby stuff. Now you don't need to do it that way. You know this is your, I'm gonna give you the actual, and this is your expected. You don't have to call it literally expected. Understand? You don't have to call it literally actual, but you need to know which one is actual and which one is expected. Otherwise, you have too many expected, too many actual. How many can you have? You're gonna have so many validations on this. You can have expected 1, expected 2, expected 3. Are you gonna have it that way? No. Who's gonna understand what is that? If they see expected, what is expected? But if they see full name, oh, you're comparing name with newly added displayed contact locator. Oh, makes sense. Those are the two things you're comparing. Next time you may be comparing company name, get company name. And those are the two things, okay? So we're down here on verification. What we're gonna do? Assert dot gives me some option. Tell me what the game plan is. What do you want to do? Equal? Sure. Or contains. There's assert contains. There's assert equals. Let's see what JUnit has some. TestNG has some. Hamcrest gives you a lot. You don't like it, you make your own. That's an option too. You're not at that level yet, but I'll show you someday how to make. So this assert equals, see this assert equals? Is there assert contains? There is no assert contains. So we have to deal with assert equals. Now, there's so many. Which one do I do? Obviously, you want a string message, failure message. And you want to compare two things. Expected, actual. Both of them are what type of data type? String. So I want string message, string expected, string actual. Let's keep scrolling down till we find one. This one? Okay, so we take this. These are the same. One is JUnit framework and the other is also. What about this one?
It's short.
Oh, short, sorry.
This one and this the second one. Yeah, I think same, both are same.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna flip on me, but let's just take that. Message, if it fails, what are we gonna say?
Try again.
But it doesn't say what.
Didn't add it.
You're comparing expected and actual, and it didn't equal, that's why it failed, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually sum that up and say it here. That means, or you could say, contact did not add, or relevant contact name not found. Grammar doesn't matter here. That's your warning. We tried to add a contact, but it didn't add. Let me go investigate that. Here's expected. What did we see expected? What did we say? Which one?
Full name.
This full name is expected. So copy that. Put it in here. And actual, we're gonna have to get it through the locator. This. Okay. How are we gonna do that? Here it is. So you delete that part and you send the driver to get it for you. We have a driver who drives and goes gets it. So driver dot find element, and we wanted to find which one? Newly added displayed. Enter that. Gonna get pretty long. And then it found it. What do you want to do to it?
Get the text.
get the text. If you say get text, it's going to take whatever text displayed, bring it over in here. So dot get text, second one, and you're done. Okay. If you see this line became too big, and now you want to just make it a little nicer, you're welcome to actually create a string storage container
For driver finding.
and say, yeah, displayed contact name equals, and take all this driver.findElement, newly added, get text, Control X will cut it and copy at the same time, put it here. Sometimes I do it in 2 different lines, even though it adds extra line, but it cleans up the code. Then you can take displayed contact name, and you don't even have to say .get text anymore.
Oh, it's already there.
Correct. And there you have it. This driver.findElement newly added contact locator get text gives me Deepika, whatever that name was, came in with the number, stores it in this container for me. This container has the displayed contact name. This one is my expected. They're going to be compared. If they're equal, it's going to pass. If they're not equal, it's going to fail it with this message. Let's run this and see what happens. Green? Pass. Can we fail it and see how it looks? Let's fail it, right? I can fail it if I take data out of a different row. Here's the XPath, newly added displayed contact locator. We were always taking it from the first row. Anytime you add, it goes on the first row. If I take the data out of row number 5, for example, now it's going to have a wrong something, okay? I want to print it out so you can kind of see what's happening. So how about we print this out? So we have 2 variables. You can print anywhere you want to. So this is a temporary code for you to see. Print to see. What do we do? Seesaw. That. Then expected name equals full name. Is that okay? And seesaw actual name, and that would be displayed contact name. It's gonna fail. Console is gonna print these 2 names. We'll see what it compared, how it compared. F11. You want to also fail your test to see if it fails. How does it fail? Does it fail nice with proper information? See right there, failed. Let me close this out. Stack trace, relevant contact name, not found. So your assertion failed it. See that comparison failure? Expected was, actually it did print it out here for you too.
Yeah.
Expect Deepika 939, but on the 5th row, what it found was John. And if I scroll down, it should, it didn't print it.
Yeah, because it will stop
No, that's, let me get this out of here. I don't know how to get this out of there. But the console report should have printed. Oh, it never went.
Yeah, it never went to
It
that.
never went to this point.
Because I thought it will stop the
Execution stopped
stop
here. It failed right here. But if I cut this
print on the top.
and put it here and run it now,
No, but the state contact is on, not as red.
because that
Because
was
it's-
never
I think you
created.
have to before the assert, I think.
Very good. Very good. You have to put it like right in here. Because this was only created here.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, we can do that.
I'll just put it here. And now run this. I know I took quite a bit of time on this, but this is probably the very first test case, complete test case that you're seeing, right? It's important that you see from A to Z. So we can delay other things, no problem. There you go, submitted, checked from there, failed it right here, close
Came
this
out
out,
from console also.
expected was that with that random number, it found name automation testing with that, and it got failed. So your failure is going to come out like that. Okay. Question about this test case. When you're done with this, clean up and then submit. So what are we going to do to clean up? First, Control Shift F and O. You press that, make sure everything is aligned. All unused imports has been taken off. Extra lines, you don't want it.
Control
So
shift. What?
Control Shift F
F.
and O. F O. Shortcut.
O will import the O is for importing, right? F will align it. Control shift F.
F.
So it is for
So
alignment.
press and hold Control Shift and then press F. Keep pressing, holding Control Shift and then press O.
All of them.
So all of
Same
them,
time.
yeah, not at the same time. First,
First F.
Control Shift F O. Let go the F, then press O.
Oh,
Those are two separate ones. Now, here's cleanup. You look through. This is fine. You made some comments right here. You can open these up, uncomment those. Didn't like it. It's causing some issues. I'm just gonna leave it because I don't want to mess with it right now. What are you gonna look for when you turn it? Don't have extra lines. Like if there was one extra line, take that off. You want to provide clean code. If you need some lines in between for readability, that's fine. Your company will tell you that maybe you don't need a line right here. Maybe you don't need any lines unless you have. Let me bring this back up. Excuse
we
me.
don't need this. Wait, what? Right?
Hmm?
You did wait.
110.
We don't need this. Very good catch. Thank you. We do need to close. We need to quit. No lines should be here in between. Everything looks good.
The
And-
comment too, you don't need to stop on
I'm gonna leave it because I'm gonna give it to you as a note. You're not gonna have any of these comments. You're gonna have no space between these, all packed into one. Okay? And no comments, no step 1, step 2. This is for your learning. You don't have to write element library up there. People will know when you started with the by, that's your element library. Typically, that's gonna be in the very first thing, which is gonna be right there. And then you do your other things. Right now, I just left it there. Leave it there for now. That's your code. You don't even have to have these. So you will delete all that. And one last run. Remember, I failed it on purpose. You gotta fix that.
the point.
1.
201. One quick last run. and you packet it, ship it for your supervisor to review. He's also going to download this code into his machine. More of that coming later, and run it. He's going to see how it's running. You'll see the report. Might ask you to fix a few things, or if they like it, they will merge it, accept it, and it's passing. We're good to go. You don't even have to print this. Okay, so you could take those codes off. Some helper code that you put in there, you can also take those codes off. We're gonna take a 5 minutes break before we start back up with some of those how to handle things. Okay, we'll do whatever we can until 1 o'clock, and we'll end the class at 1. So let's take 5 minutes break while I post these notes on the site for you.
Time.
Yes, sir.
There's the showing the actual name. That should be the expected one. Or not?
Just 1 second. All right, we're done with this test case. Now we're gonna learn some fancy tricks of handling some complicated stuff. How are we gonna do that? So here, I'm just gonna close this add contact test. This test case is done. By the way, this test case code is now available on session 3. Because it relates to yesterday's class, I'm going to leave it there. If you go to session 3 and scroll all the way down to where it says class code, there's the code. How are you going to do this? You're going to go to your Eclipse. You have your project already. In your project, you're going to open up test folder, create a test package if you don't have one already, and create, right click on this, new, and create a class. You're going to give it a name of the class. It's not going to like it. Some test case. I'm just saying, because I already have one there, so you don't need to. You're going to add contact test. That's what you're going to add. And in here, when you have this piece, your best bet is have this open and do it little at a time. You can take that if you want. And check your errors. Copy one line at a time, if possible. But unfortunately, this @test, and then here's the method name. If you copied this one line, you're still gonna get an error. Who can tell me why?
Sleep.thread, I think it's exception for sleep.thread, and we are handling it through interrupted exception. That's why.
That's one.
We haven't done it.
I never coded it.
That's one.
The format maybe on the page has some spaces or stuff.
Yeah. What's another thing? What's another thing that can throw an error?
It's a line and just
Closing of that.
Open
The
parentheses.
curly braces.
This open curly braces didn't close here, did it? It closed all the way down here. maybe even here.
Yeah, I think that one for the method.
Better to do it by
So some things you can.
I think
Other
we should
people,
reference.
if you copy this whole thing from the test all the way and not missing this, let's see if I can make it work. And you go to WordPad, Notepad, and paste it here. Then copy from here, Control A, Control C, and then come in here, and you know that it has to be in between this and this bracket. So if you go in the body and paste it here, may or may not work. Let's see if I can make it work. So it got a lot of errors coming in. First one, you start with the top, import. Okay, working so far. Working so far. Import that. So far so good. Top down. Import by. Import random.
Control Shift plus F plus O. It will import all the.
It cleans up. Let's see if it does it. Control Shift F O. I don't know what it gave me. Control Shift F O.
For importing. Yeah, it's asking.
Finish. It did.
Because O basically it will import all the
Yeah,
packages in one.
it worked. Look, no errors.
Yeah, so just copy and
Control Shift
paste
O.
and do Control F.
Control Shift F O. And then if I run this, it's working. So worst case scenario, if you needed to just copy and play around with it, code by code, piece by piece, you wanted to pause and see how things are working, you can do that. If you want to do it from scratch, that's awesome. Awesome. Because you may have an interview where they're going to even face-to-face or over Skype. I had an interview over Skype and they asked me to write a code. I did not know assertion. Can you believe that? I had a 1-hour interview with like SDLC testing process with one team. This was the 3-hour interview over Skype. And this was for lead position. And that was really good. About the theories, they liked me. So went to a different team and they were gonna test my social skills and see if I'm gonna fit with their culture. So 1-hour conversation there, they talk about my life, I talk about their life, I ask them questions and they really like me there. Now the third part was automating and they gave me a task to automate and I got busted. So I came up to here and I did not have the knowledge you have right now in that interview. I did not know what assert was. I heard the word, I didn't know how to implement it. So I did if-else statement to verify. Okay, and I kind of lost track while I was building that if-else. And I said that at this point I can't remember anymore. And they got so like they really wanted me in the team. So there was this guy. He's like, "Can you go a little bit deeper? You're almost there. If you can just kind of show me how you wrap this around." And I just gave up because I've never completed a whole test case before. I was piecing together all that stuff. Never really practiced. That was horrible. Okay.
You were on Skype, so you could have like.
You just search it in your phone and copy it.
I didn't even have notes. I never watched the assertion video, and the assertion wasn't taught properly at the time. Also, for my folks, we still got jobs. So the guy, he was kind of nagging and trying to do that. I withdrew, and I felt like I know I'm not gonna get this. I just want to get out of it. Didn't tell him that, but I kept saying, just can't, at this point, I just can't recall. They just kind of like, you could see that they're all that spirit that they got about me, kind of winding down and down, and that was good. Didn't get that job. So that was that. End of that story. But you are at a very good state with this test case right now. You actually got wrapped around everything, little bits and pieces of all.
So
If you go to the interview,
expected to do each and every line or just hard coding through the code?
you have, that was like, you do it, they see your screen.
Oh, each and everything.
Like online folks, they're watching my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine interviewers watching my screen, and I'm running and showing them it runs. That it validates. So that's what you're going to do. You're actually going to create a class and do this from scratch. And that's what could be your interview. The interview that I got the job for did not ask me to write or do this. But the guy asked me to write a method that's going to take a string and reverse the string and print it out. All right. So in a piece of paper. And that I got the job, but I did horrible on that one too. Okay, I panicked on that too. But as I was explaining and trying and using the loops and stuff, my handwriting was all over the place. The guy understood that, yeah, it's not nice, but he knows what he's talking about at least. So maybe I can train him. Okay, so they might just want to look for that piece in you, whether you have it. Okay, you don't have to be perfect. All right, but if they see that you can explain it, you get the logic, you know there's going to be a nested if right here. That's it. That's good enough. Okay. All right. So you okay with this? You can copy and create and all that stuff right now. Let's move on to today's topic of handling several situations. Let me X this out. And we're going to go through this really fast. Oh, I keep clicking on that. I'm going to start with the first thing. And that is alert and pop-up. Have you ever seen when you go to a website, a small window pops up asking for information or maybe displays something? I have one here. If I click on this link, it takes me here. If I don't type in username and password and hit go, it gives me a pop-up warning saying, please enter a valid username. You may have a situation where you have to test that, because that's a feature that your developers put in, that if customers don't put in their name and hit go, give them a message and tell them that it's why they were not able to log in. You would have to actually click on OK to get rid of it and then move on with the correct address and continue with your test case. We're not going to do the test case. I'm just going to show you how to handle it if this pop-up comes up. Why is it important to handle it? If you don't get rid of this, Selenium is going to be stuck. You won't be able to type in anything. So look, I click on it. I can't go. A website froze. Not until you say OK, you won't be able to do anything on that site. So that's why you have to take Selenium on that pop-up, say OK, get it out of the way, move on with your test case. Understand? How do we do that? Let's do it. Again, I clicked on the wrong one. Cancel. Sorry. Yeah, close that one too. Here's the bad boy. Shortcut. You have a test case with set properties and stuff. Let's say some test case. You take that, Control C to copy. You click on your packet, and Control V to paste it there. It's gonna say that name already exists. Do you want to give it a different name? Sure. Handle pop-up or alert. There's no space. You can't put space on the names. Pop-up or alert. Okay. Now, how are you? I'm doing this, but if you were to do this from my website only, you need to go to session 4, and here's all the code for you. Handle pop. So you create a class and you copy this code. Okay? And then you paste it and play with it if you need to for your notes. So what I'm going to do, take this, copy, put it here, click on that, paste, give it a name, handle pop up, okay, hit OK, and I got the handle pop up right here. Delete what you don't need. You know you're gonna need these 2 lines. Agree? You know you're gonna need window maximize. No more notes, no more commented stuff for you guys, because you get it now. Okay? You know you're gonna need implicit weight. You don't need that. No more line spacing. Okay? You know what the get method does. You don't need any of these. Understand with me so far? Delete that. You know you need to close the window. So leave it up to that. Delete all this. You don't need the comment. Don't need this comment. Just need those 2 to finish off. Opens up the browser, maximizes the screen, deletes the cookie, gives an implicit weight, goes to the website you want to go to. Now, you go back to this site. I have the website right here. And there you go. So if I just copy this, I may be copying a space there. And paste it here, we'll see. There's that space. And there's that space. Not needed. At this point, you have this method, leave it. You may need it. You can use it. At this point, run it. We want to see if it goes to the website, if there's any error. It won't run if your test case has errors. It did go to that website because it had that box there. It was fast, but it did the job. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this Go button. And it's going to open up this, and we're going to click on this. That's it for this test case. Because I want to show you how to handle this one. It's not as easy. See, if I right click, inspect doesn't come up. No inspect. There is no code behind it. It's something else. But if I say OK and right click on the Go, I get inspect. That I can check in the element. But this pop-up, this information does not appear in this. How are we going to get that? Let's just get this Go right here. See this type? What do you want to choose? What's a good option?
Name.
It has name. Proceed. Okay, we'll go by the name. So Do you want to do an element library or go straight and click on it? Library? By go.
Style.
Yeah.
Should I need to change the number, line number 18, the class name, the method name?
You're right. Thank you. Handle.
Pop.
Pop up.
Handle.
Handle. Pop up. Test. You don't want this name to match this name. Why?
It's not a constructor.
It's not a constructor. Correct. Now, here's the locator name. And here we can say by dot. We said we're going to go with name. With me so far? And name was like that. Finish it off. Semicolon. Click on it. Driver dot find element. Go button locator dot click. And now let's wait for it. Okay, just so that we can see what's going on. Okay, F11, that if it's working, always do that, then take it off later. It got clicked, and then this pop-up came back. Pop-up went because I accidentally clicked on it. Okay, it didn't automatically go back. It didn't close. I did say quit and close, but it didn't close. It's failing. Why? Unhandled alert exception, and because I interrupted on that, it kind of picked up on this weird exception. But let's go handle it. Here's how you're going to do this. Alerts, there are several things you can do. One, you can cancel the alert. Sometimes there's OK button in the alert. You can get information out of the alert, capture, and you can also send information to the alert box. The code for that, you have to say driver.switch to. Then driver will switch from your backend code, which is from here, to that box. Whatever that box is, we don't know the code behind that box. But he's going to switch from this place to that place. And switch to, you're going to say alert. Those type of pop-ups are all called alert, not pop-up, but they are pop-ups. And if you choose the method called dismiss, it will cancel it. Ours was an OK button, right? Then we have to say accept. Accept will click on OK button. Dismiss will click on cancel button. Get text is going to give you in text of that alert. And send text will, if you need to type something in that alert. Those are the 4 things you need. We're just going to use this code right here. Okay. So if you just say right now, driver.switch, SWITCH, and choose this one, switch to, and dot is going to give you options. Where do you want to switch to? A lot of options, but you want to choose alert, enter, and because you have to press OK button, you have to say accept or dismiss or get text, all of these options. Accept, and let's put some thread sleeve so you all can see this better. Let's put this guy in here as well. Is that okay? F11. One, two, go. Question. And window closed, everything is passing. I'm not going to clean this code up because you're actually going to take it from this site. And all the code is, here's handle pop up right there. Here's handle iframe. Now let's do iframe real quickly. What is iframe? Iframe or frame. Sometimes sites like this, they may not even have these clear lines between them, but they may have separate websites within site. This is one web application, but it has 3 applications, 3 frames, meaning here's a website on its own. This is a website on its own. It acts separately, and this is a website on its own. Okay? If your driver is on this one, and you try to click on a button here, it won't click. You have to switch the driver to that frame. Only then it's going to do it. We don't know which is the default frame. When you get on this website, one of this is going to be default, meaning your driver is going to go to that one first and start working on it. Then if you wanted to move to a different, you have to specify which one to move to, and you have to know that. How can you tell visually that there are different frames? One, it could show up like this. How can you tell code-wise whether there are different frames? Inspect. If you inspect and in here type in Control F to search and type in the name frame, that's going to give you a lot. But if you do // and type in frame, then that gives you the tag name of the frame. How many do we have? 3. It highlighted the tag name with the frame, not where inside there's the word frame. There's 3 of them. Here's one. And see, if I hover over, it highlights this one. Chances are, this is the first default frame your driver is going to hit. It's going to be right here. And then second one, if I hit another enter, goes to this. So probably this frame here. And third one is that big frame, which is this one. Okay? Frame, you could say frame 1. This is the index of the frame. You could switch the driver by indexes. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 0, sorry. Frame 0, no. What? Frame 1, 2. The other one didn't have an index. That means there was no index for that for some reason, so indexing is not going to work. We may have to find frame by its frame name. Yeah. Let's see the first one, if frame has a name. So that's a frame name. This one has a name, package frame, and a class frame. So you could identify frames by names or indexes. We saw index was having an issue, so we'll use by name. What are we going to do? How are we going to make sure that we do this? Look at the behavior of this website. If I click, let me enlarge this so you can see. Too much. if I click on Java applet, this shows up. And if I click on applet context, this shows up. Okay, we're going to check to see, we're going to click here, and then check to see if this shows up. Then we actually switched our driver properly. All right, so first thing, we're going to click on this. What kind of element is this?
Link,
What type of locator should I use?
link text.
Link text would be easy. You can just copy this text right off the bat, and that's your link text. You don't even have to inspect it. Okay, and we're kind of taking our chances that the driver is going to be on this one because this was the first one. May not, it may be here. We'll see. If it doesn't work, then we know. All right, with that in mind, I'm going to create another class called, copy this one, paste it here, call it iframe test. Okay, close this one out. Here's the iframe test. Keep this the way it is. I want to speed up this. These guys take time. It's just going to leave it to maximum implicit wait. And I need to get to that website. So if I just take this site address, plug it in here. Okay.
Change the name to handle.
Yes. This would be iframe test locator package name locator. Can I just say that for now? Or Java applet locator. Okay. All right. We said we can find this by what? Link text, and text we could get it straight out of that, including that dot and everything, and put it right here. Now we can say driver find element, this guy, and click on it, wait 3 seconds for us to see, make it 5. We don't need any of these. And then close it. With me so far?
Yeah.
Now, if it clicked, this is gonna change. You'll see this content will change. So we're gonna look for this content change or not. Let's run it. It didn't click. So troubleshooting maybe needs some time, or what is the error message? No such element exception. Element was not found. It's possible that it maybe needs a couple of seconds before. For now, we're just going to use thread sweep. Later on, you put explicit wait. I'm just going to put 2 seconds before you click on it. If still fails, what does that tell me? If still fails, which failed, right? If it clicked here, it would show me this. It didn't click, so it's failing. What does that tell me?
The location which you copy pasted the link test, it may be very dirty and cheap catch method. You need an expensive method.
Possible. Weight wasn't an issue, was it?
No.
No. Driver is not here. Driver is in some other frame. This is probably not the default frame. Maybe this is the default frame. Okay, so we need to bring the driver to this frame. We already know that that frame has a name. So let me close this. I think I have another window open here. This frame has a name, inspect, and the frame name package list frame. Notice if that's highlighted, I double click on it, it doesn't give me anything. It doesn't let me take the text out. That's why I mess it up a little bit. I first find it, mess it up, and then double click and get that name. Okay, copying that name, and here's what you're going to do. The code is to handle frames. Where are we?
Think behind it.
Fourth one. Did I not write it here? Okay, 3 ways to determine iframe presence. You can read about that. We just went over. By index, by name, we didn't see any ID, and by web element. You don't need that. Just we're gonna do it by name right now. And here's the code. Switch to frame, and you put in the frame name or frame ID. You don't even have to specify that. So here's how it works. Now, before I click on it, I'm going to take the driver dot switch to dot, not alert this time, but frame. One is by index. We saw 1, 2, 3 wasn't there, so we're not going to use that. But string, we can put either the name or the ID. So let's choose this one. Has to go as a string. We copied it from the inspect tool. Control V to paste it, and dot. I think that's it.
Do we need
No.
to?
No, we need color name.
That's it.
Do we need to put the locator after it?
No.
No, that's a library driver.
With this frame name, driver is going to switch to whichever the frame is. And then it's going to wait 2 seconds and then click on it. So let's just see if it works. F11. Worked. 2 seconds later, it clicked here, and then we got this. Now it closed out. Very good. How do I now have him click on this? After you click that, I want it to click here.
Switch to again.
Switch to again. So if I want to see what frame that is, that's the frame. Frame name is that.
Package.
Okay. You got the idea, or do I need to show you that part of
So
the
you
code?
have to switch again. So
You have to switch again.
yeah, but then you have to start with this one because you have to click one of these to get there, right?
Let me show you. So I take that package frame name, go in here. He's on this frame, and he was successfully able to click on it. So we're good. Now, after he clicked on it, I don't even need that many seconds wait. Maybe just put like 1 second. Now again, driver dot switch to frame name. There's the frame name.
But you choose the index.
Hmm?
You
First
choose the,
you use the frame.
the index.
No, it's done right. Package frame. Let's switch to.
Yeah, this was the first frame name.
Yeah, I know, but then when you choose the function, you choose the integer.
Oh, function.
Oh, I did that?
Frame sheet is same.
It shouldn't have any problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably same method. Have you ever heard of method overloading?
Yes.
Same name of the method, you can put different kinds of parameters. It will understand what you're trying to do. So it's probably a method overloaded in the switch to class or whatever. Okay. So now we got switch there, and real quick and dirty, driver.findElement by.linkText. There's that link text. That and dot click. All right, do it. Two seconds clicked on that, and 1 second click on. Did I even copy it?
You did.
I did.
Yes.
Maybe it's there.
Maybe you need to sleep.
Maybe you're right on that one. Frame. I don't know. Just checking my odds. Package frame, which does highlight that.
That's fine.
So good there. Maybe 1 second is too short. 2 second wait.
I think we should wait here.
So tried both of these. And did I copy this? Oh,
Oh, copy. Class is there.
that's not link text, is it? See,
Yeah, there is no link.
if this was in this node or sandwich, we would have been fine. This is not even a link text.
Yeah, it's not a link.
It's a span something, all right?
You can go
So-
to contain.
So here's, yes, come on, give it to me. How do I do this XPath with contains or just even text?
You can go with contain. Span.
Somebody saying tag name, span, okay?
Bracket.
Open, close.
Contain.
Open text.
Text.
Mhm.
Then comma. Then
Single quote.
Then single quote and
Inside.
So if it's not a linked test, then why we will click on that?
It will still click on it.
Still
You found
clickable?
that element, right?
Okay.
2 of 2.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there are two.
Yeah, but the driver is going to be only on this frame.
So second
The
one
other
is
one came in this particular frame,
another
so
frame.
But it's gonna get confused which one is gonna.
probably not. Probably not.
Is
Let's
it?
see. Probably not. So we're going to do by.xpath. Let's try now. Lack of a time, we're not doing a good job with the XPath right now. But I just wanted to get over this material. Here's 1, 2, click on Java applet, and 1, 2 seconds, and click on.
Fail.
It didn't fail yet.
It's still
Why?
It's still running.
It's still waiting, I think.
And then it
Now
failed.
it failed.
Waiting and then
And failed for what reason?
no such element.
Yeah,
No
no
such
frame.
frame.
such frame.
Elements.
So it's not finding the frame. Ah, did I not copy the frame name properly? I clicked on that thing again. Inspect frame. That
Yeah, it's
frame is
different one,
that.
right? It's package list one.
That's the frame name. Why? Let me copy this again. I'm glad it failed because I need to show you one more thing. Pasting it right here. Here's another thing you can do. Driver dot switch to. There's something called default content. This will bring it back to original state and then come back to another frame you want to. Sometimes it doesn't want to jump between those. It wants to go back to its base and then go to another frame. Okay, that may or may not be. I can't remember if I had this issue with my last season. Now let's click on it. Let's see.
I think it's gonna kill because after it's gonna be under the Java if you're not clicking it.
Let's see. It's gonna give us a report at least, and
It worked.
it worked, right?
I see that is a
So let's put a pause here to see what happened. Let's see.
default content. I think
After clicking here, let's make that 5 seconds, 7 seconds. So default content took it back to the base and was able to come back to that particular frame, but it wasn't able to move between those frames. It has to go back to the base. That's my bet on. There's that, and click on that, and we got this. Clear? And then close down and pass.
So I think that it should have worked with the link text too.
No.
Which you can expert.
No. Probably not, because the text you saw, it was under span, not A.
Okay.
The tag name has to be A for you to use link text with that text there. So it won't, even though it looks like a link. So learn something different. Okay, a little more time and let's see what I can cover. Next concept is mouse over, and what do we have? Scroll up and down. We're probably not going to be able to cover all these. We'll do it next time. Okay, let me explain you the homework. So over the week, you have a test case to automate. You don't have to use these pop-ups and other things. It's not there. It does say add contact, validate contact. No, I've already done that for you. So let's see what I had on session 3. Billing, transactions, click on the transfer, fill in the new transfer form, submit, validate, transfer, post it. Do this one. I'll explain it to you. So go to session 3, and this is your homework due when we're going to have session 5 next weekend. It has the steps there for you. You go to the site, which is Tech Files, username, password, login. You already have code for that. Just copy paste. Okay. You don't have code for clicking on transactions on the side nav, which is this one. That's your part. Try using XPath, maybe some XPath axis to practice some of those things. After you click on transactions, you're going to click on transfer, which is this one. Pay attention to the weight that you have to provide it. So keep mindful of that. Transfer. You can put a wait for element in here if you wanted to check that. You can put a wait for element anywhere here. I do need to show you
Drop down.
Yeah, I didn't show you drop down. But what you could do, I'll show you right now. You can do a click here, open and select some of these, or if you inspect this, because it's a list of items, you should be able to find some sort of list somewhere here. And your keyword is select. So even if I inspect this element and it gets to right here, if you go up, you will see there's something called select. If you open it up, you will see those options that showed up here. Checking, there's checking. House, house. You can find this element by XPath. How? You can start with select ID. /select. And then you could say, yeah, you could make it fancy saying add ID equals whatever this is, right? Copy that, put it here. You have anchored it here. And now pick any you want. From here, let's say you're going to make a transfer. You're going to choose a name from here. Let's say house, and you're going to choose Tanveer. And you can hard code your data to this. Now, / what? Tag name, option. A lot of them came, but let's say I just wanted to pick house. How would I pick that? You can even say value equals house, or you could say text equals house. Whichever is easy. You want to say value equals house? That's fine. Open, close, square bracket, @ value equals single quote house. That's it. You can take this element and click on it. It's going to bring it down here for you automatically. You don't even have to use a fancy code called select code, which I'll show you later. But you can even find it here and click on that element, and it's going to bring it down here. So bring two people here, two different people. Leave this date the same. Don't mess with it. Put a description. Lunch money. Okay. Put a real name. Sharif to Tanveer. Lunch money. $25. You want to put a random number here. Why? Because you don't know if it posted or not. Yeah. You can even throw in a random number here. You don't have to put in anything here. Okay. And then you're going to click on the submit button. If you do it, it's going to show up here. Let me do this. See that? Account. It went to Tanveer's account from Sharif or whoever. Lunch money, 1, 2, 3, 4, random. Actually, both of those transactions are showing up. One was taken out, one was putting back in. And then your validation with an assert, you're going to come to this very first line. Take this info. Take this cell info. Compare it with your expected. This is your actual, and your expected is in your code what you're going to send out. Do you see that this is almost the same as add contact? Only difference is this has less fields.
And it's showing in the just beside, so it's like different. It's not different frame, right?
You don't have to click on another page to go and validate. You can validate it on that same page.
Same page, right?
Same page. The other one, you had to add your contact here, come back and validate it on this page. For this one, should be easy. exactly same thing, all the information you need on that test case that we did. You should be able to automate this. Even if you are unable, you have to give it your very best and fail and go through the struggle of pulling your hair out of this. Why is this not working? Why is that not working? If you don't go through that experience, you won't be an engineer. Okay? So come back next weekend and I'll check and I'll have you guys demo your automation. Okay. This homework that I explained to you. If you have questions, take your numbers, each other, help each other out. Take pictures of the code, send it to another person. Hey, I've got it fixed this way. You got a team chat too.
Yeah, we have a group meeting.
Group me. So use that. Ask your question. Take a screenshot with your phone saying, hey, I got this code, but I don't know why it's not working. There's AP there, other guys. Enrico is watching that too. So they'll be able to come back at you and tell you, oh, I see this line, we got this problem. Try this one. Or, hey, mine is working. Here's the screenshot of mine. And then you guys can share and work. Okay. Questions? Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Whatever there is to
Stein,
it. Yeah. Huh?
Stein,
Yes.
Stein, I have a quick update.
Yes.
So I will miss like 1 month class since I'm traveling.
Okay.
So I can like resume watching videos once I'm back, like mid-December maybe.
Yeah, all of these videos are going to be stored and uploaded on ObjectSpy website, and you can come back and view it and catch up. You do have to work through them in a sequence because they build on one another.
Okay. So
All right, if no more questions, thank you. I'll see you next weekend. Bye.